The second sign of learned men of the next world is that his words and actions are the same. Rather, he does not order an action to be done without doing it himself. God says, "Will you enjoin the people to do good deeds but forget them for yourselves?" 2:41. God says, "It is hateful thing to God that you say what you do not do." 61:3. God says in the story of Shuaib, "I do not wish to do anything which I myself forbid you." 9:90. God says, "Fear God and he will give you knowledge." 2:82. God says, "Fear God and you will know." 190. God says, "Fear God and listen." 5:11. God says to Jesus Christ, "O Son of Mary, take lessons to yourselves and then give admonition to others. Otherwise you will be ashamed of me." The prophet said, "I passed by a party of men in the night of my ascension to heaven. Their tongues were cut with scissors. I asked them, 'Who are you?' They said, 'We used to give advice to others for good deeds, but used to not do it ourselves. We used to prohibit evil deeds to others, but we used to do them.' The prophet said, 'Corrupt learned men and illiterate worshippers will be the cause of destruction of my people.' The prophet once came to his companions and said, 'Take to learning as far as possible, but God will not give its rewards till you translate it into actions.' Jesus Christ said, 'He who teaches good but does not translate it into action is like a woman who commits fornication in secret and becomes pregnant, but when her pregnancy is exposed, she becomes repentant. God will disgrace one before all people on the day of resurrection who does not act according to his learning." Hazrat Muaz said, "Be aware of the learned man's error, because he is the most honored one amongst the people, and because the people will follow his error." Hazrat Umar said, "Three things will cause the end of time. One of them is the error of the learned man." Hazrat Ibn Mas'ud said, "Soon there will come a time over the people when sweetness of the heart will vanish. At that time neither the teacher nor the taught will get any benefit from learning. The hearts of the learned will be hard like hard stone. Rains will fall on it from the sky, but it will slip away from them. The reason is that the hearts of the learned will be addicted to the love of this world in preference to that of the love of the next world. God will then rob them of the mountain of wisdom and extinguish the light of guidance from their hearts. They will say to you by their tongue, 'Fear God,' but their sin will be exposed in their actions. Tongue will then become dry and hearts become hard. The only reason is that teachers will teach except for the sake of God, and students will learn except for the sake of God. This is written in the Torah and the Bible. Don't search for learning which you do not know till what you do know." Hazrat Huzaifa said, "You are now in an age wherein if you give up 1/10 of what you know, you will perish. But there will soon come an age wherein if a man does 1/10 of what he knows, he will get salvation." The simile of a learned man is like that of a judge. The Prophet said, judges are of three classes. One class of judges with justice and with knowledge of the truth, and they will go to paradise. Another class of judges unjustly with or without the knowledge of the truth, and they will go to hell. Another class of judges contrary to the laws of God, and they will go to hell. The Prophet said, "The devil sometimes will prevail over you on account of knowledge." It was questioned, "O Prophet of God, how will that happen?" The devil will say, "Search for knowledge, but don't put it into practice till you acquire it." So he will remain busy with acquisition of knowledge, but it will remain without action up to his death, and at the time of his death he will have no action. Hazrat Ibn Mas'ud said, "The Quran was revealed in order that men may direct their lives according to its teachings. Direct your life according to what you read it. There will soon appear such men who will keep it like an arrow, and they are not good amongst you. The learned men who do not act according to their knowledge is like a patient who describes the quality of a medicine without using it, or like a hungry man which describes the taste of a food without eating it." God said, "Woe unto you for what you utter." The Prophet said, What I fear most for my followers is the errors of the learned and the arguments of the hypocrites about the Quran. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.